What's going on, people? Welcome to another In Motion Football live stream. Today we got playoff landscaping heading into week 8. For those of you guys who maybe aren't familiar, what this is about, on a weekly basis on Tuesday nights, we do some playoff landscaping. We evaluate the landscape, scope out where every team is at, and kind of take stock of our thoughts and feelings about where every team is at in terms of their odds of making the playoffs. And it kind of serves as like a stock watch. So, as we feel better or worse about teams as the year goes on, we put it in tier form or tier format. So, what we got here is the basic template. 7 people watching live. Shout out to all you guys. Some of you guys might be new, some of you guys probably aren't. To really just to explain it, these are my 5 categories for every single team in the AFC, and we'll do one for the NFC as well. And yeah, we'll slide the teams into each category depending on how we feel about them and their playoff chances for the upcoming year. So we do division by division. I find that that's the best way for me to really get into it and get some good conversation out of this. We're gonna start with the AFC East as we always do. So, starting off with the Patriots, they're gonna get put at the bottom. That game against Jacksonville was rough, man. So nothing this week changes where the Patriots have been all year. The Dolphins, you know what? I'll do the Jets first. The Jets, I think are what are they at? 2-5 now. I'm gonna make sure I don't have that wrong. Yeah, they're at 2-5. So they're at 2-5. They get Hassan Reddick back. I think they're too far gone in the loss column. I'm gonna put them in don't think. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. Yeah. Okay. My thing about the Jets is that let me look at their schedule. Actually, that'll help because I don't think that the rest of the AFC is all that necessarily. They play the Patriots, then the Texans, Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, Dolphins, Jaguars. You know what? The schedule isn't that bad. But I still have to put them in. I don't think they'll make it because if you look at their team and what could get better, they're relying on an older quarterback and an older receiver to get them out of a funk. I don't know if that'll do it this year. You look at their defense. What is their defense's chances of getting better? A player that hasn't been in training camp or been practicing with an NFL team up to this point. So they're relying on things to make their season better that I don't think are the best bets. So I'm going to put them in. I don't think they'll make it. The Dolphins also sitting at 2 wins. Yes, they're 2-4. They're going to get Tua back. I think for Miami, I also want to put them in this same tier. I think first and foremost, we've seen some chinks in their armor in terms of how teams are going up against what they want to do offensively, and this is pre-Tua getting hurt as well. But they're very much an offense who does what they do. They don't really do a whole lot of adapting. So with that kind of an offense, you run the risk of becoming well learned as you go on in the NFL. And I don't think Miami has done anything, even though they add new players, they haven't done anything to present themselves differently. So even if Tua comes back and plays great ball, they're 2-4. I mean, there's a decent chance Tua doesn't stay healthy for the rest of the year because we know the more this happens with Tua, the more likely it is to continue happening. So the Dolphins definitely slide into I don't think they'll make it. And I think partially as a result of how bad the rest of the division is, I got to put the Bills in very confident they'll make it. They're 3 wins ahead of their entire division. They're the best looking team, and they just got Amari Cooper, which adds an element of like hope for this offense getting better. So they have the fact that him and Josh Allen are just going to get more and more on the same page. Keon Coleman is hopefully going to get better and better as a player. So the Bills have things to look forward to in terms of getting better. And they're 3 wins ahead of the rest of their division. So I got the Bills and very confident they'll make it. If you have a very good chance of winning your division, that's where my confidence comes from in terms of you making it. And you're going to see that theme with all of these selections for the stream. So Buffalo goes into the top tier. When it comes to the NFC North, we're going to start with Cleveland being in the bottom. Goes without saying. Their quarterback situation is going to be DTR and Jameis Winston for the rest of the year, provided that I think they signed Bailey Zappi. off the Chiefs practice squad. But yeah, they have their issues. Obviously, they traded away Amari Cooper. Nick Chubb is fresh off a really bad injury. The offensive line isn't the same. I think the defense has their pieces, but they're, if anything, probably prone to give up at some point the way this team is playing. So Cleveland goes in the bottom tier. That part is easy. The Bengals, I'm putting the Bengals and don't think they'll make it, despite the fact that they're now 3-4. I think they benefited from some very easy opponents. Who did they put? Oh yeah, Cleveland and the Giants. Me and King pointed this out in the last one. But yeah, they got or in the last live stream. They've had two very easy opponents. That has them propped up in terms of their record. Actually, you know what? The 3 wins are the Panthers, the Giants, and the Browns. Talk about, I mean, the bottom of the bottom in the NFL. So I think they have real struggles. I don't like their defense generally. I don't like their offensive line. I don't like their running game. It's really just Burrow, Higgins, and Chase. So I think that's a problem for sure. And because that's a problem, I have them and don't think they'll make it, despite the fact that they're 3-4. And if you look at the wild card picture now, they're 1 game out. But because of their issues, hell yeah, Disco. We do this on a weekly basis. We do this every single week. But I think you know what? There's some teams that definitely hold consistent. But I think the Bills are the only change so far from last week. But shout out to you for coming back, man. Yeah. Disco, we do. Yeah. If you don't remember though, to be honest, we had the Jets in. I think they're in the mix, and the Bills in. I think they'll make it last week. So it's like this is the playoff landscaping, bro. This is a weekly like stock watch almost, where we track how we feel about these teams each and every week. But yeah, so I got the Bengals there. So Baltimore is easy. They're playing kick-ass football. Definitely very confident they'll make the playoffs. They've racked up enough wins. 5 wins, second in the conference in wins. The change I want to make with Pittsburgh is I had Pittsburgh in the mix last week. I'm putting them, and I think they'll make it this week. What changed for Pittsburgh for me is I put them in the mix because I felt like their situation with Russell Wilson was a complete unknown. And because it's a complete unknown, I wasn't comfortable saying anything definitively. Now that I've seen what they look like with Russell Wilson, I feel comfortable again making a decision on where they like how I feel about them. And how I feel about them is they're definitely going to be better than some of the other teams in the AFC, I think. In terms of the rest of their division, I feel pretty good about them finishing second. And yeah, I think as we see the rest of the teams in the AFC, I definitely feel better about Pittsburgh than some of the other teams. They're up to 5 wins. They're 5-2, and then if we look at their schedule, they play the Giants before a bye week. So 6-2 going into the bye week. You're racking up wins. We saw what they look like with Russell Wilson. So I do feel comfortable putting Pittsburgh 1 tier higher this week. So that wraps things up for the NFC North. Moving on to the AFC North. Moving on to the AFC South, we're gonna start by putting Tennessee and Jacksonville in the gutter, as always. 2 franchises that are having everything go wrong, despite the fact that Jacksonville blew out the Patriots. It is the Patriots, so nothing changes for Jacksonville. In terms of the other 2 teams, I want to say, okay, about Houston. They're going in the top tier in terms of me being very confident they'll make it. And that's because I feel very confident that they'll win their division. I think there's only one team that's competing with them, which is the Colts. I think the Colts have much bigger issues than the Texans. And that's why I think the Texans, I feel good about their chances of winning the division. But the thing about Houston, and again, I've been beating this drum for a long time, I don't think they're playing that good right now. They played strong football towards the end of the year last year, and they've upgraded their team on paper. So I think the assumption is that they're going to be a very good team. And I still think that they will be at some point this year, but that's not what they've been so far this year. That needs to be very clear. Houston is here because I think they're going to get better. They already have 5 wins and they're in a pretty weak division. But just to be clear about Houston, they have issues that have to be figured out, but they're going to go in the top tier. The Colts are going to go in the mix, which is where they were last week. But what I will say about the Colts is that they are, I feel like they're going to drop down for the rest of the year. Peter brought this up on a stream, I think the last stream we did, but their next games are Houston, Minnesota, Buffalo, the Jets, and the Lions. That's a crazy 5-game run right there. And they're going into those 5 games without clarity at the quarterback position, with speculation about whether the defensive coordinator is still good or not. A lot of questions. They have injury issues at the running back position. So with all those with all that uncertainty going on, the Colts have a hell of a 5-game run. They're in the mix because, again, they have the wins to be here. And as a whole, I think, if Joe Flacco were the starter, maybe I would feel better. But with the uncertainty that they have at the quarterback position, the potential for locker room rifts because of the quarterback situation and that schedule coming up, I feel skeptical about the Colts, and I do think that they're going to drop off. But those circumstances that I just unpacked for the Colts, that's the reason why I think I have to separate them in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh, I think, definitely belongs in a different tier than Indy, for that reason. So that clears up the AFC South. We're going to move to the AFC West. Raiders, very confident they won't make it. They just traded a big piece. They are in disarray. They just lost Aiden O'Connell, who they gave the starting job to. So, yeah, they're in a bad place. Turning back to Gardner Minshew, team just, again, looks completely in disarray. So they belong in that tier. The Chiefs, obviously, right to the top, playing like ass, but they're still undefeated despite playing like ass. So just imagine if they were playing even average. I think we got the Broncos and the Chargers, the last 2 teams. Broncos, despite their record, I'm still saying, you know what? I might have to put them in the mix, because here's the thing. The Broncos are 4-3. They play the Panthers. I think that puts them at 5-3. They then play the Ravens and the Chiefs. I'm going to go ahead and say that puts them at 5-5. But then after that, Falcons, Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. The Broncos have decent opponents. So the way they're playing football, I do think that they're going to be a competitive team. I don't necessarily think that they're a good team. But again, I look at the teams in these tiers. I have issues. I have some serious issues with what's going on with the Colts. I like, it's not like I would feel weird putting the Broncos and the Colts in different tiers. I think they kind of belong in the same spot. And I'm going to put the Chargers in this same tier. So my main takeaway with the Chargers is that I thought that, like, if you told me at 9:00 yesterday, so at the start of the Chargers game, hey, we're going to do these tiers. In my head, I would think, okay, the Chargers kind of belong on a different tier than the Colts and the Broncos. I was actually really disappointed with how they played against Arizona. Herbert threw for over 350 yards, but they kicked 5 field goals. I think that's a serious problem. I've long talked about how I think Greg Roman and Justin Herbert is a weird pairing between OC and quarterback. They don't have the weapons to really make the most of Herbert's arm. They don't have the coordinator to make most of Herbert's arm. But Herbert isn't a good enough runner to really be maximized in a running scheme the way the way Roman likes to do. So I do think that that's a bit of a weird mix. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed. With the Chargers game yesterday. So all things considered, you look at all these teams. I think Pittsburgh belongs in a tier above the 6 teams below them. So Colts, Broncos, Chargers, Jets, Dolphins, Bengals. I don't think the Steelers belong in the same tier as any of these teams. So yeah, I got you, Peter. So yeah, that's why I feel like the change I wanted to make is that Buffalo jumps up 1. I think they deserve it, and Pittsburgh jumps up 1 as well. And when I look at the AFC, these 5 teams at the top, I feel very good about them being playoff teams. And in my head, I think that the 6 teams below them in the next 2 tiers are competing for 2 spots. And I think the reason I'm differentiating between the top 3 and the bottom 3 there, so Colts, Broncos, Chargers versus Jets, Dolphins, Bengals, is more because of the bad things that I feel. Like I think there's demonstrated bad things that I think about the Jets, Dolphins, and Bengals. And like there's more bad there than I think about the Colts, Broncos, and Chargers. But in terms of the good, just isolating for good, honestly, all 6 of these teams have their merits. So that's what I got going on here in the AFC. I know Peter is going to join us eventually. Actually, I lied. Peter is right here. What's going on, Peter?
Yo, what up? What up? How are you doing, man?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling. We just wrapped up with the AFC. Perfect timing.
That's what's up. I don't have any complaints.
Yeah.
I am no, yeah. I have no complaints.
So
The Colts are a hilarious team.
the Colts are a hilarious team, and what I kind of wanted to say is that like the in the mixed teams and the I don't think they'll make it teams. Honestly, the difference between those 2 tiers don't feel like a lot to me. Like I was kind of just saying, I just think I see more demonstrated bad things with the Jets, Dolphins, and Bengals that make me like skeptical about those teams. But it's not like the difference is the good things that all these teams have, because like the Colts have a little bit of good things going on, as so do the Broncos, Chargers, Jets, Dolphins, and Bengals, right? Like those 6 teams, I think, are competing for the last 2 wildcard spots. But I think whoever makes those wildcard spots are getting smoked in the wildcard round anyway.
Yeah, to be honest, I think like weirdly the only team that I think really has a chance
Yeah.
as a wild card team in a
Yeah.
playoff game would be the Bengals, and I don't think they're going to make it.
Yep. I mean, I looked at their wins. They're 3-4 with wins against the Giants, Browns, and Panthers. So I mean, talk about beating like the worst 3 teams in the league.
But like, I don't know. I don't think the Bengals are going to win this weekend. I don't
Yep.
think they're going to beat the Ravens on Thursday Night Football in 3 weeks. If they lose both those games, they're what, 4-6?
If they're 3-6 at that point.
None. They have a game in between, don't they?
Oh, true. I don't know what the game in between is. Hold on. So it's Eagles. Oh yeah, Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'd be 4-6 at that point. Like, I don't know. Like, math is weird. Like, I think the AFC is a very funny place.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's been pretty obvious in terms of who's probably going to win the divisions.
Yep.
But I felt this way at every point in the season.
Oh yeah. I think it was about 3 weeks ago where we were talking about how like the divisions feel pretty wrapped up. So yeah, it's just about the wild card spots, and with Pittsburgh on Sunday night, like
I'll say this too. I'll
Yeah.
say this. I'm almost confident. I'm almost willing to put Pittsburgh in the top tier.
Yeah.
Not because I think they're actually amazing.
Yeah.
I just can't see those 3 teams in the tier below them all passing them.
Oh, no chance, man. No chance. Like they would have to be on some self-destructive shit. Like they're gonna probably they're going to get a win against the Giants on Monday night. They're going to be 6-2. Like they're just head and shoulders above the teams they're competing with, strictly in terms of just the wins. And the confidence in like what they've built as an organization with Mike Tomlin and everything. So yeah, the argument could definitely be made that could one team pass them? Sure, but could 3 teams pass them?
Yeah,
No
like
way.
that's kind of how you have to look at it.
Yeah, no
It's
way.
not a matter of like who you think is the best goes on which tier.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't think the Broncos are good or better than, I don't know, let's just say the Bengals. But like let me look at the Broncos
So like
schedule.
I don't think the Broncos are better than the Jets, but they're what? They're 4-3 and they play the Panthers next week, right? So they're gonna be 5-3.
Yeah, that's true.
Then they're gonna get their shit kicked in by Baltimore, Kansas City. So then they're 5-5, right? But then they get the
Atlanta, at the Raiders,
Yep.
home versus the Browns. They could be 7-6 going into a home game against Indy, and us not know if they're any good.
Yep. Oh, I don't think we're gonna know if they're any good at any point.
December, you're in the mix, baby.
Oh yeah. The Broncos are just going to be in this mix. And again, like every criticism you could have about them, like it applied at every point this year. The same criticisms applied in week 1, right? And they're still here 4-3. So that just is what it is. I feel pretty good about what we have in the AFC. I feel pretty good about the fact that there's 5 standalone teams, and then just like it feels like the other teams are like playing teams.
Pretty much, like even the Chargers schedule, they took a nasty L yesterday, right?
Disgusting.
But their next 3 games are the Saints with no Derek Carr,
Yeah.
the Browns, who
Yep.
might not have their 2 top pass rushers on their team by then, because who knows?
Yep.
The Titans, who are also like a 1-win team, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like Chargers could be 6-3, and us not know if they're good or be.
Yeah, I think the random wins that some of these teams have that feel like are more than the teams deserve, it's because of that layer of 5 teams at the bottom of just pure shit, right? Like these teams got to play them and they're going to get wins, right? So when there's this demonstrated bottom tier of teams, like it really just inflates the wins for everybody else. And if you just so happen to have a lucky schedule, you can really get a 9-8 season out of a 6-11 team, right? And that's probably what the Broncos are going to be this year.
Yeah, but like the Colts, their backup quarterback is unironically better than their starting quarterback.
Yep.
And they have 4 wins in their last 5. Granted, they go on the road to play Houston and Minnesota, then come home to play Buffalo. So they need to find a way to win one of those games. I'm not confident at all they'll do it with Richardson at quarterback. But the Colts,
I feel horrible about the chances.
The Colts at the end of the year, hear me out. In December, starting at New England, then they have a bye at Denver versus Tennessee, at the Giants versus Jacksonville.
Yo, Flacco sweeping that 5-0.
Hey man, it could happen. Like crazier things have happened, but like the Colts could be sitting there with like 9-8, or we might have like, I think we're gonna have a 9-8 logjam.
Yep.
At like the 7th seed. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yep. 10 wins probably gets you 5-6. No, I lied. Yeah, 6. No, 10 wins gets you 6, and then the bunch of teams with 9 wins. There's going to be some crazy 3-way tiebreaker. Like the shittiest team of the 3 is going to get the spot, and that's just.
I think just off the top of my head,
yeah,
I want to say the Chargers will be the beneficiary of this stupid tiebreaker.
That'd be interesting.
And I have nothing to go with that other than the Chargers. Actually, you know what? Hold on. The Chargers did beat the Broncos, but they're 2-2. The Colts are 3-2. The Bengals, Dolphins, and Raiders have 2 losses. So do the Jets, or 3 losses. They're 2-3 in division. I will say, I forgot the Jaguars won this weekend.
Oh yeah. That was the Travis Hunter Bowl in England.
Yeah, I forgot that they won. So, looking at their schedule, they have no chance. Do any of these 2-win teams like have a chance? Let me look at them. Tua, did you read that he's supposed to come back in week 8?
So I saw that, and it doesn't really move the needle for me because there were issues while he was healthy, and also like him deciding to step on a football field doesn't assure me that he's going to play every snap from this point onwards. You know, like him coming back, if anything, may stop them from making a move at the quarterback position that really fucks them if something else happens.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm looking at their schedule. I don't really see it with them either.
Yeah.
What team do I think is trash but might make it? The Jets, but they're trash. I don't know why. They've lost 4 in a row. Holy shit.
No, it's like they've done all the things. Like, I don't think I've seen a team mid-season do more than firing a coach, trading for Devontae Adams and then basically acquiring
I will say
Hassan
this
Reddick.
though: the
Yeah.
Jets score the bye at New England, short week home against Houston on Halloween,
Yeah.
Arizona, who we don't really think are good, but you never know,
Yeah.
and at home versus the Colts. If they win 3 of the 4, they go into the bye 5-6. You're in the hunt graphic. After the bye, at home versus Seattle, at Miami and Jacksonville. Who knows what those teams are going to look like?
Yeah.
Home versus the Rams, who are talking about maybe trading fucking
Cooper Cup.
everybody at this point.
Yep.
At Buffalo, so that's a certified loss.
Yep.
And then at home versus Miami in week 18. So who the fuck knows, right?
Yeah.
Like, as disastrous as the Jets' whole thing has been,
Yeah.
I would say they're the one team on the I don't think they'll make it. Actually, they're the one team that I think could like grab a spot.
Yep.
I think the schedule is like a little bit too gnarly for me.
So at 2-5, they need to finish the season what 8-2
to like definitely make it, but like 7-3 to probably have a decent chance and be somewhere in there.
So if we're looking at 7-3, the Bills are one of those three for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's say the Texans. The problem is I think the Texans are due for a loss, but the loss they were due for may have been Green Bay.
So I would say the Texans will beat them, the Bills will beat them, and then I think they'll lose either one of the Miami games.
I mean, this is the tough thing is like for them because they're 2-5, they kind of have to run the table on winnable games, and I don't think they're actually good enough to run a table.
No, I don't think so either. Let me
Like
look
if they
at
had more room for error, if they like they're one win away from being in the tier above them, for sure.
let
Like
me
the
look at
2-5 is just tough.
yo, the Texans schedule is actually interesting because they play the Lions, please Detroit. I need you know how I said the Ravens would be 13-4 and be a 3 seed?
Yeah,
I have a fear that that actually could happen, and I don't
yeah.
want that to happen.
I mean, the Texans have a what are my Celtics are up 20 over the Knicks, and that's why we're doing this and not watching basketball.
Yeah, who didn't see that one coming? But yeah, I'm cool with this tier. I think that bottom tier is just gonna slow like this tier like system has to polarize, right? Like people have to sink or they have to like rise.
Yep,
You would think, right?
yep.
Like
This,
depending on what happens next week and over the Steelers bye week, I'm happy to put them in the top tier.
yeah. I mean, we know they're gonna get the win against the Giants. I think that win plus seeing the other 6 teams below them just kind of not looking impressive for another week would probably do it. Uh, Shout out to you tapping in from the garden. Have fun, I guess, but also like the dedication to being a viewer is pretty
That's
impressive.
dope. That's what's up. We'll take that.
Hell yeah.
So next week the Colts play the Texans, so that's probably an L for them.
Yep.
Jets will get a win below the Steelers.
Broncos get a win.
Hopefully win. Who knows?
Chargers are supposed to get a win.
Chargers are home against the Saints, so they'll win. Yeah. So the
Maybe I
Broncos
missed.
are playing the Panthers, so everybody here except the Colts should win.
What about the Dolphins?
The Dolphins are playing the Cardinals.
I'm seeing their home point 3-point home favorites.
It's because people probably think Tua is playing.
My
right?
thing is like I don't think Arizona's the kind of team that wins 2 games in a row. So like I do feel good about Miami.
I hear it, but do we actually think like how confident are we if that Tua is going to play?
I don't think that he would be giving press conferences if he wasn't. Is my take.
Okay.
Like I think that there's no upside to having him speak to people if that's not like a soft rollout for the announcement that he's playing.
Gotcha.
When do you guys think the Chiefs are going to lose?
That's a good one to do. Sometime soon. They can't keep cheating the devil like this.
So I don't think it'll be the Raiders. There's a chance it could be the Bucks.
I think it'll be the Bills.
Bills are obviously a good candidate. Texans are right there. But to be honest, I do think
the Steelers.
Oh yeah. In Pittsburgh on Christmas, but I do think that those are the 4 games.
What's up?
I do think those are the 4 games, like Pittsburgh, Houston, Tampa, and Buffalo. Like I do have the Chiefs beating everybody else.
Yeah.
So that has them at 13 wins already.
But yeah, the Chiefs will be the 1 seed unless they like just crash out.
Yep. Unless more locker room shenanigans happen and somebody gets arrested or somebody runs somebody over. It has to be that type of a thing. They're going to be.
Look at the Bills' schedule. So they're at Seattle next week. That could be an L for the Bills. You never know.
Yep. Oh, I think DK's not playing though.
Yeah. Okay.
I think DK would be needed for that to happen.
The Bills have to play the Chiefs and the Niners at home, either side of a bye, at Detroit. So the Bills hopefully have like 2 more losses in them, 2 or 3.
Yep.
But the great thing with the Ravens is they beat the Bills, so we have the tiebreaker over Buffalo.
Yeah.
And the Bills played the Texans, right? And the Texans play the Ravens because they all won the divisions last year.
Yep.
So if the Ravens could just beat Houston on Christmas, I think the 2 seed is there. Because in an ideal scenario, they would beat the Texans on Christmas, have the 2 seed wrapped up, and be able to just sit everybody in the last game.
Right.
Because now that only one team gets a bye in the playoffs, if you're the 2 seed, you at least know if you win, you definitely have another home game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that could be like that would be a huge thing.
Bucks lost Mike Evans till their bye week 11. Yo, that game for the fucking Bucks was detrimental, man.
I don't know why they're throwing the ball and going hard with a minute left down 10 with no timeouts.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I'm speaking of Mike Evans, I'm down to move to the NFC if you are.
Sure, yeah.
We'll start with the NFC East. Giants straight to the bottom.
Yes, great red tier.
They were way more ass than I even thought that they were. Commanders,
low, but holy fuck.
For real. Commanders, I still have them and I think they'll make it. The fact, like, here's the thing. I'm very certain that Mariota is like a different level of ass right now.
Yo, the NFC is the bad place. All these teams are actually decent.
Bro, I think this is what I had it at last week. Obviously nothing changed for the Cowboys, so I'm putting them in the same spot. Jerry Jones came out during the bye week and said, "Hey, I think the coaches aren't doing a good job, but the players might not be either." And I was like, "Well, Dallas is a mess."
Yeah, that's not, and they're going to play the Niners this weekend.
And the Eagles are starting to play better, but that's what happens when you play the Browns and Giants back-to-back weeks. So I don't want to really change much for Philly either. So I'm comfortable with actually the same spots we had them last week.
Hey, Dallas' season could be cooked by Thanksgiving.
Yes, bro, it's gonna get ugly for them.
Oh, they're at San Francisco, at Atlanta, home against Philly and Houston.
Yep.
And at the Commanders, who are good now, unironically.
Yep.
They could lose 4 of those and be screwed. The problem with the NFC is if you don't win 10 games, you have no chance. I think we might see a 10-win team miss this shit.
Very real possibility. Very real possibility. Yeah, no, I agree. I think
that spot makes sense. I think they're cooked, but we're gonna put
like every week from this point onwards, we're gonna be asking the question about putting Dallas in that last tier because it's getting close.
They're 2 there. If they lose the next 2, they're going in the Giants tier. I don't care.
Yep, they're going right there. So yeah, Cowboys, be safe. Be safe.
That's not a great thing to be in.
Bears, we're in a bye week, so nothing changes for them.
You don't think they'll make it?
I don't think they'll make it, and the division is the biggest issue for me. Like,
Oh, that's
I
not what I was gonna say, but I
okay,
also don't think they'll make it.
okay. What's your point?
The schedule.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the schedule.
It's satanic, dude. After the New England game, it's fucking satanic. Okay, so at Washington, who doesn't have Jaden Daniels, may probably. At
Yeah.
Arizona, you think they should win those both, but they have a rookie quarterback, you never know. And for
Yep.
whatever reason, the Cardinals be randomly winning like kind of irrelevant games.
Yep.
Home against New England, easy win. So let's say they win 2 of the next 3 and they're sitting at 6-3. At
Yeah.
home versus Green Bay and Minnesota,
Yeah.
at Detroit, at San Francisco, at Minnesota, versus Detroit, versus Seattle, last game at Green Bay.
Yo. So here's the thing, right? Like, I said that, oh, it's their division. You look at the schedule, bro. The 5 divisional games all look like hell in this schedule.
Yeah, it
Then
just
you,
doesn't like I don't know about that one, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
yep, bro. I think that's the problem with those 4 teams is that they all have to play each other. So you cannot, even if you think that like on merit they're all good teams. No, 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 no. Somebody has to take the L,
Yeah,
and it's
somebody's probably missing the playoffs as long as the
yes,
Eagles and Commanders continue to win,
yep,
because they will have 2 teams to pick up easy W's against.
exactly. So
Yeah.
this is the
We've
problem.
never seen, since the playoffs expanded, we've never seen all 4 teams in a division make the playoffs. I don't think that's happening this year.
No, no. I'm taking the team with the rookie quarterback and the kind of like nonsensical offensive line and running game at times as the team that has to take the L. Like I do think they're too good to put in very confident they won't in terms of right now. But again, I think probably 2 weeks into that hell
But like
stretch.
at the same time though,
Yeah,
if they do win their next 3 and they're 7-2 going into this crazy stretch,
yeah,
they would have to just get packed up like 5 games to probably not make it, right? Like you would think in a bunch of almost 50-50 games, they'd win a couple just
yeah.
off the sheer odds.
So we said that 10 wins is going to be needed to get into the wild card
If you
spot,
don't have
right?
10 wins, you don't have a chance. I think there's going to be a team with 10 wins that misses.
Yeah,
And I think that, although that being said, let me check this here Commanders schedule. Versus Chicago at the Giants, that's a win. Versus Pittsburgh, think they're going to win that. They'll probably lose at the Eagles. They'll beat both the Cowboys and the Titans, so that would put them at 9-3, which is a crazy.
yeah,
That's or 9-4, which is
yeah,
outrageous. At the Saints, that's a win. At home versus the Eagles in Atlanta, you'd figure they're going to win one of those.
yeah,
So I've already, they're at 11, even with losing to the Bears.
yeah,
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I was going to say maybe the Commanders and the Bears end up tied, and whoever wins the injured Jaden Daniels Bowl goes to the playoffs. But the
yeah.
Commanders have some hilarious looking games on here.
Dude, I think it was last week or the week before. Joel was like, I don't know if the Commanders belong in that list yet. I was like, yo, look at the schedule, brother.
No, it's not that they're amazing. It's just they have the Giants, they have the Titans, the
Yep.
Saints, the
Yep.
Cowboys twice. Like they're at 5 wins already.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm confident that the Bears might be that one team that just says nah.
And if you want to look at the Eagles schedule, because they're the other team in this conversation, right? If we think they're beating the Bengals, that's 5-2. They're beating the Jaguars after that. That's 6-2, right? Then they have the Cowboys after that. Even if you want to give them a loss to the Cowboys for some reason, they're not going to get swept. So that there's another win coming up there. Like the Eagles' path to wins with the Panthers and the Giants and again, the Commanders, another crack at them. I don't think we're getting swept by the Commanders. Like the Eagles will get to 10 wins easily. So yeah, that's the thing. The numbers game in the NFC is gonna get ridiculous.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of awkward coming down the stretch. Some of these teams.
Yep. Yep. The NFC South thought they had a thing going on at some point. No,
Hey
no,
man, Derek Carr looked like Jesus Christ for 2 weeks, and then the Saints quiet quit. I don't know what to say. I would put them. I would put the Bucks, and I don't think they'll make it because their receivers just died on national TV. And then
for
I would
sure.
put the Panthers and the Saints, and very confident they won't. And I would say the Falcons, I'm very confident they're gonna make it.
Okay, we're gonna definitely get to that. We're just gonna quickly finish off this division. So we can put the Bears and don't think they'll make it. Lions straight to the top. The fact that they handed the Vikings 2 touchdowns in Minnesota and still got the win was
Hey
wild.
man, we called it. The Lions would win because, like, nah.
Cause nah, bro. Cause nah. They tried their best to lose.
Our rationale was nah, and it worked.
It really did, man. It really did. So for Minnesota there, I know your take was that they're gonna lose against the Rams. I think the Rams approach to like I think maybe they want to win less than we think they do.
Maybe, but like I'm telling you, this is just hot take off a short week with
Yeah.
the Rams already having won a game at home and not needing to travel at all.
So the tape people that I watch content of, who I seem to like have some level of respect for, seem to suggest that the Lions put out like a pretty great blueprint on how to attack Minnesota's defense. And if there's anybody that kind of likes a lot of what Detroit does, it would be like a guy like Sean McVay. So I wouldn't be surprised if McVay takes Detroit's play designs, conveniently has a lot of the same shit already installed, and kind of just runs with the same shit. So something to watch there. The Rams could find some success kind of just copying what Detroit did. Obviously they don't have the weapons, but they can try their best. So yeah, we'll see with the Vikings. I still want to like the thing is, or let's look at their schedule. I still think that they belong in that top tier because like they play teams like the Jaguars.
Ooh, yes, so you have to put them in. The schedule's hilarious.
The schedule is too shit, man.
Versus the Colts, at the Jaguars, at the Titans, versus the Cardinals and the Falcons and the Bears, at
Brothers,
Seattle. Yeah, because they're
top
at
tier,
yeah. You have to.
top tier. And
Even though I think they're losing on Thursday, but then I think we're going to turn around and they're going to be 8-2 going into Chicago.
yep. No, yeah, some of these teams again, like a lot of these teams got ahead of the arms race for W's, and like that's just gonna see them through. But like it's not like if I just look at the football teams that I think that there's a crazy gap between some of the top. Like I think outside of Detroit, it's more or less same shit all the way down for like the next 8 teams, right? It just so happens that Minnesota got ahead of everybody else in the arms race.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm gonna put Green Bay, and I think they'll make it. I think the win against Houston was pretty impressive. Like they've navigated the year so far with 2 games without Jordan Love. I do think they're a pretty solid team, and as young of an offense as they are in terms of their skill position players and their quarterback, like there's always potential for them to continue getting better. So I feel very comfortable putting Green Bay, and I think they'll make it.
They're 5-2.
Yep.
They're at Jacksonville, so we probably think they're going to win.
Yep.
They're home versus the Dolphins on Thanksgiving. Home versus the Saints 2 days before Christmas.
Yep.
And that home game against the Bears is beyond cash money every time.
Yep.
Right? Like the Bears haven't won at Lambeau Field, I want to say, since 2012.
Yeah.
Something nasty like that. And that's not even counting all the like go either way games like the Niners, the Lions either game,
Yep.
at the Vikings, at the Bears, right? We've counted 9 wins already. Even if they win like 1 or 2 of those other games, I think they're going to get in.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right now they're the 6th seed. I will say they are 2-2 in conference. They have 2 conference losses.
Right.
Bears currently have 0, actually. They've only played 2 NFC teams.
So the Packers lost to the Eagles and who else? Oh,
The
Minnesota? Yeah. Well, that is two wild card competitors already, right? So that's something to watch.
Yeah.
But I already casually slid Carolina into the bottom tier. We don't have to waste our breath.
We might as well just fill up the bottom tier with what we think is going to be in there.
Yeah. Arizona?
Yeah, because I was just like, my hot take in my NFL group chat on Twitter was Arizona makes the playoffs, and that was just off pure vibes.
Yeah.
I said that before the season. but like they're 3-4, but like they're kind of trash. I don't
Yeah.
know, like, but if they weren't trash, they do have some winnable games in there.
The thing is like they've already had 2 hilarious wins. Like
Yeah, that's true.
they needed basically 50-yard Kyler Murray rushing touchdowns to beat both the Chargers and the Niners. Like that is actually part of their winning formula. Is Kyler Murray gonna fucking house the ball from 50 yards out?
But hey, man, if they went to Miami and they won somehow, they'd be sitting
Yeah.
there 4-4. Everybody'd be like, "How did this happen?" And
You
they have
say
home
if
games
they
against Chicago and the Jets going into a bye.
win somehow, the somehow isn't an unknown. The somehow is Kyler Murray scoring from midfield.
No, the somehow is a mixture of Kyler Murray with the long run
Yo,
and the Dolphins quarterback not making it through another game.
fucking Justin Herbert threw for almost 400 yards and they didn't score an offensive touchdown. It was the
Because he
dumbest game in the
fumbled, dude.
world.
Did you see that play?
Which one?
The guy in the Chargers fumbled running into the end zone. And
Oh yeah, that's Jalen Reagor, Eagles legend.
Hey, man. Yeah, no, it's. I'm like convinced that the Cardinals are like sneaky trash.
Yes,
But we
yeah.
could be sitting here next week. Well, you would be because I'm gonna be in Hawaii. But like we
Hell
could be
yeah.
sitting here next week and they could be 4-4.
No, it's so funny, man. They have like a historically bad pressure rate from their edge rushers, and they're just casually a 500 team almost.
Hey, man, it is what it is. And
Your quarterbacks will have all day, but we're still gonna win.
Never know.
For sure, for sure. And then I think the thing is, if the Rams are gonna trade Cooper Kupp, I am very confident they won't make it in this NFC.
Sure, but like, do we know they're gonna do that? Like, they could be capping at the same time.
It's possible, but then also, if we hold on, let's look at them. They're 2-4, right? We talk about the 10-win threshold, right? You got them beating the Vikings. Cool, that's 3-4. You know what? Looking at their schedule, fuck it. There's wins here.
Yes, dude. Yes,
there's wins here.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like,
okay, so we're not gonna put them there yet. Then.
Hand on my heart, do I think the Rams are making the playoffs right now? No. I'm gonna be honest, guys. But if they win on Thursday, it's on. That's all I'm saying. We also saw this last year. They were like 3-6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they leaned forward in the chair and turned into like an incredible team. And like, not for nothing, the Rams, yes, it was week 1, but when they had most of their players, they did lose to the Lions, who we acknowledge are probably the best team in the NFC, in overtime.
They should have beat them.
Yes, like they're not good, but like you can't convince me the Rams are not better than the Cardinals. I don't care that the Cardinals beat them by 30 points.
Oh yeah, no, the Rams are actually like they deserve to be a playoff team last year, and that's definitely where they belong. Obviously, the injury issues are fucked. In terms of the thing is like I was shocked by the reports because I was thinking that okay, as good of a team as they are, like they're going to try to make the most of what they can this year. But that's the thing, like it kind of logically would make sense for McVay to be like, hey, God already put us one step through the door for tanking. We could get a franchise quarterback. This motherfucker Stafford does have back issues every year. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if organizationally they said, look, we're a competent franchise. We have a talented team. We have an old quarterback. It's not every day that you get a chance to get a high enough pick to draft a quarterback. So like, it doesn't shock me. I was just surprised when I heard it. So the thing is, I'm comfortable saying the Rams don't belong there yet. Right, we have to definitely wait around.
They're putting us out there because of the position they're in. Like, if they lose at Minnesota, or at home against Minnesota, you're 2-5. Your season's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
At that point, it's not as it dead because you're 2-5. It's dead because the state of the NFC wild card, right?
Exactly.
Because like one thing we're not considering, but like we should be, is the winner of that division right now, the leader is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
They're 4-3. And if the Rams win their next 2 games, they're 4-4.
It's
and
true.
If they won their next 2 games, they have a win over the Seahawks.
It's true.
And they have a win over the Niners.
Yeah.
One team that beat them, the Cardinals, we don't think is going to be in the race for this division.
Yeah.
Right? So like as much as it's tank, they're 2-4. Like, brother, the division leader's 4-3.
The division leaders 4-3, and DK Metcalf got like carted off the field. The second team is 3-4, and their receiver they just paid $30 million a year got carted off the field.
Receiver they paid all that money to, carted off the field, torn ACL and MCL.
Yep.
McCaffrey, no signs of returning.
No signs of an
Deebo
Achilles.
Samuel was hospitalized with pneumonia, has
Which is
fluid in his
weird.
lungs.
Which is just weird.
Yeah, which like I'm not even sure how they got there, but like as somebody who's had pneumonia a couple times, that's not just something that you walk off and you're over in like 2 days. Oh, who knows, right? Like
For sure.
as much as Rams tanking feelers should be put out, like if they win on Thursday, guys, somehow if they win, it is on. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they have like tentative negotiations for Cup, and they just tell the teams like, "Fuck it, we'll see you in 3 hours at kickoff," and then like like if they
100%.
win,
It's like they're low key doing what like not even the Browns, because the Browns just like should be tanking.
yeah,
I'm trying to think like what team they're doing what I thought the Bengals would do if the Bengals lost to the Giants.
right.
Right. But like you're 3-4. You could sit there and say, "Hey guys, you never know. Let's do this." Now we go.
Yep. No, for sure, that makes sense. So the Rams definitely don't belong there, but I think the Saints definitely do.
Oh, for sure.
For sure, bro. It's bad. It's bad. They are not capable of winning games without Derek Carr. And then when you say that about a team, right? Like getting Derek Carr back isn't supposed to inspire you with confidence when the initial statement is they can't win games without Derek Carr. Nope. Derek Carr should not be a make or break factor for you. If that's your situation as a team, you're ass.
Also, how are the Saints so flagrantly over the cap every year?
Are you actually interested in knowing, or is that just like a throwing that out there?
No, I want to know. Like, why are they $80 million over? What
So
happened?
every year, what they do is that they take their players' salaries and they chuck them into signing bonuses and prorate them like into the future, right? And the thing is they just do that every single offseason, and they just chuck everything into the future. And everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna be $100 million over the cap in 2 years. There's no way this can keep going." And the GM is just like, "Watch me!" Like every single offseason, I'm gonna kick the can down the road. Why? Because this road never ends.
But like, why are they kicking the can down the road with this team that they have?
I don't know, but they've done this. Basically, they started doing this when they wanted to maximize the end of Drew Brees' career. And I think they just never wanted to like, the problem is, so the Eagles actually do this as well. But what the Eagles do is that once the team gets asked, they just bite the bullet, have a really bad year, get a high draft pick, and then start afresh, right? The problem with the Saints is that when the team got asked, they just doubled down and kept going. It doesn't make any sense.
I see these graphics. I'm like, this doesn't even seem real. How did this happen?
Yeah. No, it makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, I think they signed like 2 free agents. And then after week 2, they somehow look like the best team that's ever been fielded. And then all of a sudden they're going to be like 2-6. And look, the team is what we thought it was.
It's funny because like Spencer Rattler has like all this time because Derek Carr got injured, but like they're like not even in the position where like, yeah, he could be our quarterback.
No, yeah.
Like they're not gonna know, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. So that's a very like weird random subplot. Like the Saints are ass and they're over the cap. What a terrible position to be in.
Actually. And then they just paid Kamara like a couple hours ago. So they seem to just have no plans of stopping.
Alvin Kamara good for him, but like
he got a 2-year, $24 million extension, which is like very modest in the grand scheme of things. But like when you're that much in cap hell and you decide, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna pay the running back we already paid. Like you just start at that point where nothing matters. And I'm sure a part of that extension was kicking whatever salary he has in the next 2 years into the distant future, right? Like that's just what they do.
Under contract through 2026, so he was a free agent after this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Damn. So I guess I don't
they said, you know what? Nah, we want to be more over the cap.
He said he wants to be a Saint his entire career, so I could respect that.
Well, fair enough, man. Fair enough. But that team is definitely in the gutter.
Damn, he's gonna spend 9 years in New Orleans and just I don't even know.
I don't know, man. I guess he likes it down there. But so we got these two teams from this division, the Panthers and the Saints down here. Was there you mentioned the Bucks and don't think they'll make it, and I
Yes,
agree.
purely because their receivers are not healthy.
Their receivers are both like it looks like. I mean, they haven't said exactly how long Godwin's out for, but that looked brutal. Mike Evans is
He
out
just
for
hit his ankle and had surgery, so probably the rest of the year.
shit. Okay, and then Evans is out for a month. Yeah,
They
that
had to
got
put
bad.
an air test immediately. Whenever that happens, guys, not good.
Yep.
And their next few games are kind of crazy. Home against the Falcons.
Who, by the way, if they lose that, they get swept by the Falcons. That's
Yep.
them losing the division already.
Home against the Falcons, at Kansas City, home against the Niners.
Oh my god, bro! If they get chucked into the wild card race at what is that, 4-6?
4-6. But
Oh,
when they have a bye, they're at the Giants, at the Panthers, home against the Raiders. Their
that's
last two
7-6.
games, their last two games are Panthers and Saints at home.
What the hell? That's the wildest 11-6 I've ever seen.
Hey man, like I don't know. I like that the Bucks are chaotic. I really do.
Okay, you know what? I feel like because of
I
the
take it back.
injuries.
They're in the mix. They're in the mix. I take it back.
Okay, the record. I think the schedule definitely changed things.
They're the perfect chaotic neutral team. Like I know in my heart they're screwed, but I saw two Panthers games and the Raiders and the Saints and the Giants, and I'm back in.
Okay, so let's look at the Falcons then. I'm gonna pull up their schedule
Saying
because
the Falcons with Kirk Cousins win the division. If they don't, nuke Atlanta
actually,
with the
so
break that they got this week. If they
so
don't win the division, disgusting. Somebody
you
has
have
to.
the schedule pulled up?
The Falcons?
Yes, they have the beat up Buccaneers, the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Broncos before a bye week. You should they really should be going 3-1 for these
After
next
the
four.
bye, they're at the Raiders, home against the Giants, and home against the Panthers.
Yeah, the Falcons gotta win this division, man.
Yeah, if they manage to not, I don't know about them probably for forever.
See, because they're one, they're Atlanta, and two, it's Kirk Cousins. I can't put them anything higher than in the mix.
I'm gonna go with I think they'll make it, man.
God damn.
We think they will. Like they should. Surely, right? Like, and to be clear, the Bucks losing both their receivers is why I'm saying this.
Of course, yeah. Like I think everybody feels like full strength Tampa is better than full strength Atlanta, right? And then just because the NFL is the NFL, Atlanta's gonna sweep them, and then they have the easy schedule. It feels so wrong, but damn. I think I might be rolling with Atlanta being and I think they'll make it.
Yeah, man, we kind of like have to put them in there.
Fuck.
Somebody in the South has to make the playoffs.
Yeah, this is not fun. It's not fun, man. It's not fun. I don't like this.
This is hilarious, man. I love how this like works out.
Okay, so Rams, I think we talked about them a lot. They probably go, and I don't think they'll make it. But like,
Yes,
pending further review, they could go to in the mix or very confident they won't make it. Honestly, really depends on the game on Thursday.
honestly, yeah. If they lose on Thursday, they're going to bottom tier. If
Yep.
they win, they're right next to the Bucks, baby.
Oh yeah. And then Seattle and San Fran.
Those are two teams that are definitionally in the mix because of
Yes.
how this division breaks down.
Yeah, I think the way this division is laid out here, teams in the mix, one in I don't think they'll make it, and one in very confident they won't. That properly kind of reflects where the state of this division is, and the fact that the NFC South is in a better position, that's on merit for sure. So that makes me feel a little bit better about where Atlanta is.
Yep.
Bro, but so that's the thing, King. Like we say this about the NFC South, but yo, they're actually like unquestionably in a better position than the NFC West right now.
Yeah, man. Like, don't hate. Real hoops.
Real hoops. So yeah, I like this. I like this one that we put together. I think there's a clear. like there's a clear top 5 here, and then but it's missing one division winner. So then they're really like, it looks like if this breaks the way it is here, it's like the Eagles against the Bucks for one
One
last
of the
spot.
Seahawks or Niners have to rise.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, definitely only one of them, and then it's down to Philly or Tampa Bay for that last spot.
Yep.
In a situation where Tampa Bay has the easy schedule and the head-to-head over Philly, Philly also has an easy schedule, and like again, a very good team on paper, but they just haven't been playing good ball for a long time. So, I mean, I think Philly belongs in this tier because they're just a pretty big unknown. But like if they ever got their shit together, they definitely shoot up the tiers here. And yeah, it kind of shows how competitive the NFC could be if things break the right way. But even if with a team like Tampa, if they go on a slide here and Mike Evans comes back, and he always keeps an injury or two on him, so if he misses more time, like things could get bad for the Bucks as well. But a lot of volatility in the NFC. I feel like when we do the AFC, we come back and more or less have like probably like 70% overlap from the week before. But the NFC, I feel like it really changes week to week.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, it's a whole bunch of teams that are log jammed.
Yep. But yeah, I didn't walk into this stream expecting to put Atlanta in there, but you definitely talked me into it.
Oh, we have to. The Bucks just died on TV.
Yep. But I can't believe Atlanta is going to sweep Tampa.
Hey, man.
Have they played the Saints?
I don't know what to tell you. Like, it is what it is.
Have they played the Saints yet? Yo, they beat the Saints already. They're going to go 6-0 in their division, dog. What the hell?
Yep.
They're going to go 6-0 in their division. They play the Saints like in what could be another Rattler game. Yo, this is disgusting stuff.
Hey, man. It's real hoops right there.
Kirk Cousins as a 3 seed too, because they're probably going to be better than the Niners or the Seahawks. What the hell?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, so as a 6 seed, who would they host in the playoffs? I'm trying to think about that Nickelodeon playoff game. So it would be Falcons.
Nah. Let me think. We might have to pull out the predictor.
Who would be so the way things are shaking out here? Let's say
right now, if they were the 3 seed,
bro, it would be Green Bay.
Yeah, it'd be Green Bay and the Falcons. There's no way Green Bay gets put on Nickelodeon.
Damn. So then it would be Minnesota against, let's say, San Fran. Actually, no. They should put Commanders Eagles as the 2-7 on Nickelodeon.
No shot, dude. Commanders Eagles go straight on the Sunday night football broadcast.
So then, bro, it probably would have to be an AFC matchup. To be honest, okay.
It's definitely going to be an AFC matchup. You see the AFC wildcard teams?
Yo, I feel like
Broncos Texans is the most Nickelodeon sounding thing I've ever heard of.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's the one. Stephon Diggs, the MVP.
Yep.
And Stephon Diggs MVP, and when Nickelodeon posts it, all the replies are going to be about Offset, bro. It's going to be terrible.
Right now would be Broncos Texans, Ravens Colts, and Bills Steelers.
Good God.
No one wants to see any of that shit.
So the thing is like we do this AFC shit every week, when the reality is that those top 4 teams right there are probably just all going to be there in the divisional round.
Probably, yeah.
Like, chop this up however you want to chop it up. We're seeing Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, and Kansas City on divisional weekend, and that's really where shit gets shaking.
Yep.
Yeah, the NFC is where you actually go for unpredictability and mystery and all these things. But AFC, we know how this is going to break down.
Yeah, that wild card mix is going to be super funny. We need to do another season predictor.
Yeah, so I was planning to do it on Thursday because I think the potential for that game to turn into we need to do a prediction during the stream is like very high.
You know what? I'm down to do it on Thursday.
All right, let's do it on Thursday. And the other thing I came up with is because the games were so shit yesterday, I came up with a concept of like letting the game determine the fate of the stream, where like whenever a team had the ball, I'd say, okay, they have to get to this yard line, and if they don't, I'm just cutting the stream. And fucking the Cardinals, The Cardinals and Chargers, bro, for the last 6 drives of the game, I would say like, oh, they have to get past midfield. And they just kept crossing midfield for 6 drives in a row. I couldn't believe it. Bro, they got me to watch that game-winning like last drive for that reason. I was ready to cut that stream in the middle of the third. And Kyler and Herbert said, nah, fuck you, buddy. You're going to watch this whole game.
That's crazy.
No bullshit, bro. King was there. No, I forget who was in the chat, but yo, it was wild. I was like, yo, they have to get to midfield. There was like a 3rd and 8, and Herbert just threw it up. No, it was Kyler. He threw it up. It was an underthrown like go ball where the receiver just tries to fight back to the ball and gets a pass interference on some bullshit, and that extended the stream.
Oh no.
So that's what we do now when the game gets asked. So Vikings, Rams again. If we do the season prediction and it gets asked, that's what we do. We faded the stream every single drive. Yep. So yeah, it was fun. But that's what we're gonna be doing, people, on Thursday. Vikings, Rams. We're gonna be here for a watch along. We're gonna predict the season. It's gonna be a good time. We're getting to around the time of the year where doing a season prediction. It's like a good sweet spot where you get to actually do enough fuckery, like there's enough weeks to really create some nonsense, but it's not excruciating to click all those buttons.
Yep.
It's a really good sweet spot. So the seasonal prediction will be good. Shout out to everybody watching right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be back next Tuesday with this. We're going to be back on Thursday for the Vikings-Rams games, and we're Rams game, and we're going to be here for Niners-Cowboys on Sunday. Well, I'm going to be here. Peter's going to be in Hawaii, so
yes.
Make sure you guys tap in. Just sub to the channel to get notifications, so you guys don't miss whenever we go live. But yeah, you guys have a good night. Take care, and we'll see you around.
God damn, the Celtics